Johnny Depp has always been one of those names that you can't ignore. He's not just an actor, he's a cultural figure. Over the years, he's given us characters that feel larger than life, roles that linger long after the credits roll. Jack Sparrow, Edward Scissorhands, the Mad Hatter, these aren't just roles, they're pieces of pop culture history. But for a long time now, his story hasn't been about the characters he's played. It's been about the man himself, his battles, his struggles, and his silence. Hollywood seemed to cast him out, leaving him on the sidelines. People wondered if we'd ever see him back where he belongs, on screen, in the center of attention. But here's the twist. Just when everyone thought the industry had turned its back for good, another star has stepped in. A familiar face, a friend, someone who knows exactly what it means to stand by Johnny Depp. That person is Orlando Bloom, and together they might be about to create what some are already calling the perfect boys club. It almost sounds like the plot of a film, doesn't it? A man written off by the world, left wandering in the wilderness, only to be pulled back into the light by an unexpected ally. That's the kind of redemption arc we usually see on screen, but this isn't fiction. This is Hollywood in real time, and it's happening to Johnny Depp. Let's go back for a second. Depp's relationship with Hollywood has always been complicated. He's never been the kind of actor who plays it safe. He took risks. He created characters that didn't fit the mold. He became famous not for blending in, but for standing out. And people loved him for it. But that same refusal to play by the rules also meant that when life threw challenges at him, when personal battles spilled out into the public, Hollywood wasn't exactly forgiving. Studios pulled away, projects were shelved, and suddenly, this man who had been one of the most bankable stars in the world was left out in the cold. Fans kept cheering for him, but the industry turned its face, and for years that seemed like the end of the story. But here's the thing about Hollywood. It has a short memory when money and audience love are involved. Comebacks aren't just possible, they're almost expected. Robert Downey Jr. went from being uninsurable to becoming Iron Man. Brendan Fraser disappeared for years, only to return with an Oscar. And now, the same forces that once turned away from Johnny Depp might soon be the ones fighting to work with him again. All it takes is the right push. And that's where Orlando Bloom comes in. Now think about this for a moment. Orlando Bloom isn't just some random actor reaching out. He's someone who shared the screen with Depp at the height of his career. The early 2000s were electric for both of them. The Pirates of the Caribbean films weren't just box office hits, they were cultural moments. Everyone knew Captain Jack Sparrow, everyone knew Will Turner, and together, Depp and Bloom became part of a franchise that defined a generation of moviegoers. Their chemistry, their back and forth, the way one played chaos and the other played control, it just worked. People didn't just watch the films for the action or the story, they watched because these two together made it fun. They made it unforgettable. So when Orlando Bloom says he wants to bring Depp back, it hits differently. This isn't just a co-star making a polite comment. This is someone who knows what Depp brings to the table, someone who's seen it firsthand, felt that energy on set, and wants to capture it again. And according to reports, Bloom has been saying that the two of them would make the perfect boys club. That phrase alone tells you a lot. It's not just about movies. It's about loyalty, about camaraderie, about standing together in an industry that can be incredibly lonely when it turns its back on you. And let's be real for a second. Hollywood loves a story like this. Two actors from one of the biggest franchises of all time reuniting, not just for nostalgia, but for a second chance. It's marketing gold, it's fan service at the highest level, and more importantly, it's believable. Fans don't have to stretch their imagination to picture Depp and Bloom side by side again. They've seen it before. They want it again. In fact, many would argue that without Depp, Pirates doesn't even work. The proof is everywhere. In petitions, in social media campaigns, in endless comments from fans who say they won't watch. Another film in the franchise, unless Johnny returns, Disney can reboot the series all they want, but the heart of the story is Jack Sparrow. And who better to vouch for that than Orlando Bloom? Now here's where it gets interesting. Orlando Bloom hasn't been through the same storms as Depp. Sure, he's had personal ups and downs like anyone else, but his reputation has stayed largely positive. He's still respected, he's still bankable, he still has credibility. So when he throws his support behind Johnny Depp, it carries weight. It's not just about friendship, it's about optics. It's about saying, if I believe in him, you should too. That kind of support doesn't just help Depp, it makes the industry take a second look. And in an environment where perception is everything, that's priceless. But let's not forget the bigger picture. Comebacks in Hollywood aren't just about who you know, they're about timing. They're about whether audiences are ready to welcome you back. And with Johnny Depp, the timing feels right. His fans never left. If anything, they've only become louder, more passionate, more determined to see him succeed again. Every time. His name trends every time a rumor surfaces about his next project. The internet lights up. People aren't just waiting for his return. They're demanding it. And that kind of support is exactly what studios look for. They follow the money, and the money is in the audience. If people want Depp back, studios will find a way to make it happen. But imagine this for a moment. Imagine the announcement that Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom are teaming up again. Just close your eyes and picture it. The headline flashes across your screen, news outlets scrambling to cover it, fans flooding social media, hashtags trending worldwide within minutes. Imagine the shock, the excitement, the disbelief turning instantly into celebration. The idea alone would break the internet. It wouldn't just be a piece of movie news, it would feel like history unfolding in real time. Fans would rush to their phones, to their laptops to spread the word. Johnny Depp is back and he's not alone. He's with Orlando Bloom. Together again. After all these years. Now think about what comes next. The teaser posters start circulating online, an image of two silhouettes against the horizon of a setting sun. One figure unmistakably Depp's, the other Bloom's. People start analyzing every detail, every shadow, every word. Then comes the trailer. That first moment when Depp's voice cuts through the silence, maybe with a line that nods to the past while hinting at the future. The world would stop. The trailer would dominate YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, every platform imaginable. Reaction videos would explode overnight. Fans would cry, laugh, scream. Hollywood itself would spin this as the comeback of the decade, and they wouldn't be exaggerating. Because this wouldn't just be about a movie. It would be about redemption. It would be about rewriting a story that many thought was over. A man who was written off, who was told his time was done, returning stronger than ever, with a little help from a friend. And that's the beauty of it. The friend isn't just anyone. It's Orlando Bloom, a man who once shared the screen with Depp in scenes that defined blockbuster filmmaking. Their chemistry wasn't manufactured. It was natural, effortless. Depp's eccentric chaos, Bloom's noble steadiness, two completely different energies that somehow clicked together in a way that audiences adored. And the idea of them reuniting doesn't just carry nostalgia, it carries weight. It carries history. It reminds us of why we fell in love with these characters in the first place. Without even saying a word, the thought of them standing side by side again tells us, maybe the magic isn't gone. Maybe it's just waiting for the right moment to return. But let's dig deeper into what makes this scenario so powerful. Hollywood has always loved a good redemption arc. Think about the stars who were once dismissed, only to come back stronger than ever. Robert Downey Jr. is the classic example, written off by the industry only to return as Iron Man and change cinema forever. Brendan Fraser, once forgotten, came back to standing ovations and awards. These stories remind us that the public loves to root for someone's second chance. It taps into something human. We want to believe people can rise again, that setbacks don't define us forever. Johnny Depp fits perfectly into that narrative. And with Orlando Bloom stepping in to pull him back, it adds another layer. Loyalty, friendship, belief. It's not just a comeback. It's a story of being seen, of someone refusing to let you fade away. Fans would eat this up. Theaters wouldn't just fill, they'd overflow. Midnight screenings would sell out. Merchandise would return to shelves. Cosplayers would resurrect old costumes. Online forums would buzz with theories and predictions. People wouldn't just watch this project, they'd live it. They'd make it part of their lives the way Pirates of the Caribbean once was. And that's where Hollywood wins, because it's not just nostalgia, it's profit. And when nostalgia and profit align, nothing can stop the machine. But there's more to this than money. It's about legacy. Johnny Depp isn't just any actor. He's someone whose career has been etched into cinema history. For decades, he's played roles that left audiences mesmerized. His downfall wasn't about talent, it was about perception. Hollywood turned its face away, and suddenly, he was gone. But talent like that doesn't vanish. It waits. It waits for the right moment to reappear, for the right door to open. And Orlando Bloom might just be the one holding that door. For Bloom, it's legacy too. He knows the power of those films. He knows the way fans still chant their names together. He knows that by standing next to Depp now, he isn't just helping a friend. He's reminding the world of his own place in that history. Imagine the interviews. Depp sitting there, soft-spoken as always, explaining how much it means to him to be back, thanking Bloom for believing in him when others didn't. Imagine Bloom smiling, telling stories of their old days on set, laughing about inside jokes, and promising that what's coming will be even bigger than before. These moments would become viral clips, replayed endlessly, stitched into TikToks, quoted in tweets, shared on Instagram Reels. The world wouldn't just be watching the film, they'd be watching the story behind the film. They'd be invested, in the men as much as in the characters. And think about the emotions tied up in all of this. For fans, seeing Johnny Depp return wouldn't just feel like an actor landing a role. It would feel like justice, like something that had been stolen was finally restored. It would feel personal. People who grew up with his movies would feel like a piece of their childhood had been handed back to them. Parents who once took their kids to see pirates would now take their grandchildren. Generations would connect over this reunion just as they once did over the original films. That's not just entertainment, that's cultural impact, that's legacy in motion. Now picture the red carpet premiere, flashbulbs exploding as Depp and Bloom walk side by side. Fans lining the streets, screaming their names, holding up posters that say, "Welcome back, Johnny," or "The boys are back." Critics who once doubted would now scramble to write glowing reviews. Old co-stars might show up, lending their support, creating an atmosphere that feels less like a premiere and more like a victory lap. And through it all, Depp would stand tall, not as someone who begged his way back in, but as someone who earned it, with loyalty by his side. But beyond the spectacle, there's something even deeper here. It's about resilience. About what? It means to be knocked down and still find a way to rise again. Depp's story isn't clean, it isn't easy, but it's real. And in a strange way, that makes it even more relatable. Everyone, in their own way, has faced moments where they felt cast aside, written off, misunderstood. Watching him rise again, watching him reclaim his place would resonate far beyond Hollywood. It would give people hope in their own battles. That's the true power of storytelling. It's not just about what happens on screen, but what it awakens inside us. And Orlando Bloom's role in this can't be understated. In Hollywood, where loyalty can be rare, his choice to step forward and align himself with Depp says everything. It says, "I believe in him, I trust him, and I know the world needs to see him again." That kind of solidarity doesn't just help Depp's image, it reshapes it. Suddenly, instead of being seen as isolated, he's seen as part of a brotherhood. Instead of being alone, he's standing shoulder to shoulder with someone respected. That changes everything. The ripple effects would spread everywhere. Studios would start reconsidering projects they once shelved. Directors who stayed silent might suddenly express interest. Younger actors who grew up watching Depp would want to work with him. Slowly but surely, the walls around him would crumble. And all of it would trace back to this moment, this choice by Bloom to extend a hand and remind the world of what they once had. So yes, imagine it. Imagine the announcement. Imagine the headlines, the trailer, the interviews, the premiere. Imagine the energy, the excitement, the global reaction. It would break the internet, yes. It would flood theaters, yes. But more than that, it would remind us all why we fell in love with stories in the first place. Because this wouldn't just be about Jack Sparrow or Will Turner. It wouldn't just be about pirates or adventures or treasure. It would be about redemption, about friendship, about second chances, about believing that even when someone has been cast aside, they can rise again. And when they do, it's not just their victory. It's ours too. Because watching Johnny Depp return with Orlando Bloom at his side would be more than a movie moment. It would be a life moment. The kind you remember years later telling people, "I was there when it happened. I watched it unfold. I felt it." And those are the stories that never fade. And maybe that's the part of this story that makes it so powerful. It's not just about Hollywood politics. It's about loyalty. It's about one actor standing up for another. In an industry where friendships can be fleeting, where loyalty often takes a backseat to opportunity, this feels different. It feels real. And for Johnny Depp, it could make all the difference. Of course, there are still questions. What project will they take on? Will it be another Pirates film with the old crew back together? Or will it be something entirely new, something that lets them write a fresh chapter together? At this point, it doesn't really matter. The fact that this conversation is happening at all shows how much has changed. A year ago, nobody would have believed it. Today, it feels not just possible, but inevitable. And here's another thought. Maybe this isn't just about Orlando Bloom helping Depp. Maybe it's also about Bloom himself. He's at a stage in his career where a big project, a legacy-defining move, could be exactly what he needs too. By teaming up with Depp, he's not just offering a lifeline, he's creating one for himself. Together, they could remind Hollywood why people fell in love with them in the first place. Together, they could write the next great chapter in both of their careers. So where does this leave us? With a story that's still unfolding. With two actors, once side by side on the Black Pearl, now side by side in real life, navigating an industry that can be both brutal and forgiving, with the possibility of a comeback that could shake Hollywood to its core. Johnny Depp has been down before, but he's never been out. And now, with Orlando Bloom by his side, he might just be ready to sail back into the spotlight. The question is, are we ready for it? Are we ready to see Johnny Depp reclaim his place in Hollywood? Are we ready to watch the perfect boys club become more than just a phrase? Judging by the way fans react every time his name comes up, the answer is a loud yes. And maybe, just maybe, this time Hollywood will listen. Because at the end of the day, Johnny Depp isn't just another actor. He's a storyteller. He's someone who makes people look closer, think deeper, and feel more. And when he returns, and it feels like a matter of when, not if, it won't just be a comeback. It'll be a moment fans have been waiting for. A moment that proves that in Hollywood, sometimes the best stories aren't the ones written in scripts. They're the ones lived by the stars themselves.